Broadcasting from the basement of La Penta, it's WICR.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Sports Fall Jersey. Joe Archino back here. And look, the headlines are going to be good enough as it is tonight with Kobe Bryant making his final appearance at the Quicken Loans Arena taking on the Cleveland Cavaliers. But today also a story that in 2007, there was a trade rumors and kind of a request put out there by the Lakers to make a potential trade with Kobe Bryant and LeBron James. Now, the story of it kind of goes that, Kobe demanded a trade and the Lakers kind of the first thing on their list was to inquire to the Cavaliers a Kobe for a LeBron James kind of trade. But that was quickly shot down by the Cavaliers. LeBron was the one player that was untouchable, and Kobe Bryant did say that, he would have shot down that request anybody because he could waive his no trade clause, and he would have done so to the Cavaliers. But it all kind of makes an interesting what-if scenario, what-if hypothetical, and first, before anything, I think whenever stories like this come out, you always have to be kind of careful because in the NBA, there's a lot of people who have information that they leak, but not a lot of it is always true. You can't always trust what's being put out there. But this is from Brian Windhorst, and to me, he's the most trusted source in the NBA. Whenever he speaks, he's always very careful, and he's not always going to be the first one out there putting out stuff because he's going to make sure he's getting the right content, the right information out there. Guys like Chris Broussard constantly are putting stuff out there that comes back not even being true because they rush. They want to be the first guy out there. Get your facts right. Make sure you know what you're talking about. Chris Broussard, in my eyes, is not a trustworthy source. Too many times I have seen him report false information. I want to know what I'm getting is right. And I know with Brian Windhorst, I'm getting the right information. Rick Bucher, same thing. He reported he's reported false things too. I think you look at Brian Windhorst. He's always had the right stuff out there. It's always been viable. It's always been the right thing. So it hasn't always been first, but he's always got the right stuff. He's got the right people he talks to. He's in the right circles. And to me, I will always trust his opinion over anyone else. And he is the one who kind of said, there's really no reason to sit on this anymore. This is what happened. He explained it. The Cavaliers, the Lakers, they talked about it, and it didn't end up working out. But, the question is kind of shifted to, in the hypothetical situation, what if LeBron had gone to the Lakers, and what if Kobe had gone to the Cavaliers? Would LeBron James have won a title before he went to Miami if he had gone to the Lakers? And I think it's an interesting dynamic. Obviously, the way history has kind of shaped itself, the Lakers get Pau Gasol, Kobe wins 2 more titles, everybody's happy. But it makes the question, if LeBron was surrounded by an organization like the Lakers instead of the Cavaliers, would things have gone a bit differently? Would he have won a title with the Lakers? And it's very difficult to answer that question. I would say, of course, you would have to think he had every opportunity, and he probably would have, based merely on the fact that, the Lakers were going to commit the right resources to him. And that's the one thing Cleveland never did. They never, his first go-around, committed the right resources to LeBron James. Instability from the front office down. They never put the good enough cast around him. I mean, we kind of understand why LeBron left. He carried that team as far as he possibly could, and he just didn't have the help. Zydrunas Ilgauskas, Mo Williams, those aren't the kind of players that get you to winning titles. We saw what happened. LeBron took the worst roster in NBA history to the 2007 finals against the Spurs, and they got swept 4-0. That just shows you in the NBA, one great player can take you really, really far, but if you don't have a supporting cast around him, you can't win the whole thing. And, that is kind of, even LeBron's first year in Miami now, he didn't play well against the Mavs. I mean, he disappeared in the fourth quarter of those games. There's no question about it. But at the same time, that roster still needed to work. Year 2, they beat the Thunder. That roster was filled out perfectly. Shane Battier, Norris Cole, all these players making sizable contributions. That is what it takes in the NBA. Even look at Kobe, We'll go back to Kobe for a minute. He had that lull where he really wasn't winning. Then they make the move for Pau Gasol. Lamar Odom is doing his thing, making good contributions. That's what the NBA is about. It's building a core of two great players, another really, really good player, and then having a good enough cast around him. LeBron never had that the first go around in Cleveland. I think if he had been traded to the Lakers, that definitely would have been fixed. And it's hard to say that he wouldn't have won a title there because, again, you would have had Phil Jackson. I think we can all only kind of imagine what it would have been like to have Phil have coached LeBron James because, again, LeBron James is unique in NBA history in the fact that there's never been a player who's been like him from a physical standpoint and been able to do so much on the court. Kobe has been limited at times. Kobe Bryant is hands down one of the greatest players of all time. But if you're trying to compare him to LeBron James, it's very difficult to do so because LeBron is so much more versatile. LeBron's the most versatile player in NBA history. Even if you hate LeBron James, you can't deny it. If you watch the game, you know there's never been another player who's shown more versatility on a game-in, game-out basis than LeBron. He could play any position on the floor. He has the size to defend any position on the floor. He has the scoring ability of anyone, but his game is defined by passing, by getting his teammates involved. He would always defer to his teammates first and then get himself going. There has not been another player in NBA history like LeBron. Magic is a good comparison, but even Magic is difficult to fully compare LeBron to because Magic, filled in in the NBA Finals. I think one of my fondest memories of Magic is when Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is out of that game, and then Magic really had to step up and fill that void, play some of the big man role, handle his duties running the point. He could really fill some of those voids, but even then, there was a point to it. LeBron James, there's really nothing he can do on the floor at any given moment. And I think for that reason, he is elevated over Kobe, regardless of the rings, because largely in the NBA, rings are about where you are at the given time. You need a little bit of luck. You need stability from the front office. You look at the first echelon in the first kind of era of LeBron with the Cavs, and that's defined by the organization not surrounding him with the right talent. He was bogged down by it. There's nothing he could really do about it. All LeBron could do until he was finally free to leave the Cavaliers was just play his best game, and that's what he did. He gave it every single night. He led them as far as one player ever could, and they could never surround him with the right talent. It's hard to knock a player for that. But then, you look at when he finally has the opportunity to leave, he creates his own destiny. He goes to Miami, gets to 4 finals, walks away with 2 rings. He has great players around him, and he finally gets the job done. Now he's back in Cleveland, kind of trying to redeem how things left off, and he's been to the finals. I think he'll be back this season. I don't think he'll win, but I do think he will get back to the finals this season. But, it is always very interesting to kind of put it all into perspective because, again, this is always going to be the source of debate when it comes to, different eras. We all know, Michael Jordan is there at the top. It's not, you can't really remove him from being the top. I think if LeBron had won the finals last season against the Warriors without Kyrie and without Kevin, that might have made the conversation worth having that he could have been the greatest of all time. But of course, that did not happen. But I think looking back at this Kobe Bryant, LeBron James kind of possible trade thing, it seemed like it never would have happened, but the rumor was certainly there and the potential for it was there, and it certainly makes for a fun conversation to be had. But when it comes to LeBron James and when it comes to Kobe Bryant, their games are very different, which makes them difficult to compare. But I just think in terms of versatility, LeBron James is unquestionably the better player. And for me, if I had to kind of build around and if I was the Lakers, that would have changed the game for me. Maybe you would have won more titles. Maybe instead of winning those 2 with Kobe and Powell, you would have won 4 with LeBron and some of those other players. I just think, it's amazing to think of what that would have been like with Phil Jackson and with LeBron James because Phil's always been a guy, who has done it his way, and it's very difficult to replicate. We're seeing it now with the Knicks. They can't really find a guy to run what Phil wants to run. Fisher couldn't do it. I don't think Rambis is going to be able to do it. Even if you get a guy like Tom Thibodeau, it's so difficult because it's so unique to him, and you can't ask somebody to run what you've done. You can teach people, you can show them how to do things your way, but at the end of the day, it's your system. It's got your part of your soul is in that. Part of your identity, part of your perceptions about the game are all in that system. And it's very difficult to really try to force that on somebody else. Everybody has their own unique style. Everybody has their own unique ways of doing things. And because of that, I think that's why you're seeing it so difficult for the Knicks to really find somebody there to do what Phil wants to do. But that's kind of a different conversation for a different day. This one was about LeBron, the possibility of him maybe being in Lakers gold. It did not happen, but it certainly would have been interesting, and tonight we'll see what happens. Right now, the Cavs, are starting to find themselves a little bit. The Lakers are just, they are what they are. This is a farewell tour for Kobe. It's what their season has been defined by. Right now, they're just kind of in the position where they just need to be really bad again and then draft another really good player. That's kind of where they are at this point. The big free agents aren't looking at LA the way that they used to. This summer, obviously, Kevin Durant's going to be the big name. The Lakers, are going to show a tremendous interest. They'll definitely put out whatever they have to try to recruit him over there. But I still don't think, even if Kevin Durant joins the Lakers in the summer, I don't think that really elevates you over the Golden State Warriors. It doesn't. This is not a great roster right now. Sometimes in the NBA, everybody goes through it. You have to be really bad for a long time and just continue to draft really good players until you can get back there. The only way you can speed up the process is by getting and landing the great free agents. Now, the Lakers have the attractive market to make that happen. Sometimes if you're the Timberwolves, you kind of have to do what they've done. They've been bad forever. For such a long time, it's difficult to remember when the last time they were relevant was. But, they've really started to build what they had to. Karl Anthony Towns, Andrew Wiggins, they kind of have a core of players. Zach LaVine's a nice player. I don't put him in the same category as Towns and Wiggins, but they're starting to build what you need to. Can they hang on to the guys? That's a different conversation for a different day. But they're doing what you have to do, and I think the Lakers might have to follow that similar thing. But, looking at the past, making the impressions, tonight we'll get to see Kobe take on LeBron one last time at the Quicken Loans Arena, and it will certainly be a lot of fun. But until we see the results of tonight's game, Jersey, Joe Archino here with the Sports Vault. You can follow me on Twitter at Joe Archino, on Instagram, Jersey_Joe_Archino, and we'll see you folks next time.